Okay friends, one of the first things we have to do to get started on our job is to safely raise and support the truck so the front wheels are off the ground. After that, we're going to remove all 5 of our lug nuts and then remove the wheel. Now that the wheel's off, we have a nice clear view of our caliper. The areas that you can see sprayed down are the areas that you're going to want to make sure you spray. The area where the line goes into the caliper, very important because we're going to loosen this and we don't want to break our steel line. Aside from that, you have these pins that go through the caliper and through the pads. You want to go ahead and spray those down as well and let it all sit. After it's sat for a little while, let's just go ahead and take these line pliers here. We're going to put them right on this hose and then crimp this down. That's just going to help restrict the brake flow coming down to the caliper. The next thing that we're going to do is come right down here and go ahead and pop this clip out of here. Let's go ahead and pull out that centerpiece. You got a little hooky-doo that goes into this hole. After that, you can grab onto this and slide it right out of there as well. Next, we're going to take a hammer and we're going to carefully hit on these pins right here. Once they start driving through, you're going to have to use a punch to drive them through the rest of the way. There it is, set it aside. Now we're going to do the same for the upper one. Now up here, there's supposed to actually be another clip that comes across this area. Once you start driving this out, you can remove that clip as well. Now, while we still have it bolted onto the knuckle, the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and loosen up this line. Essentially just break it free so you know it's loose. And then of course, we're going to come up here and relieve both of these bolts. As you do this, you want to be very careful to make sure you're not spinning your steel line here. Okay, now that this is broken free, let's go ahead and remove both of our caliper bolts here. Leave that one in just a little bit and then fully remove your line. Now, something that commonly happens on these is this line will twist and break. If that happens, you just go ahead and form a new one. Let's get this all the way off of here. Make sure you have your collection bucket under there. Okay. Fully remove this bolt. And then remove your caliper. Now the next thing we're going to do is get our pads out of here. Just going to take a pry bar. There's one. Do the same to the other. Now before we install the brand new caliper, the next thing that we want to do is go ahead and strip it down and then prepare it for installation. To do that, we're just going to come underneath this clip right here. We'll press this down and slide it out of the way. Hopefully. Go ahead and grab onto this clip, pull it out of the pin. Remove your pins. Now the next thing we want to do is take some caliper grease. We're going to come along this edge here, this edge right there, and then the same on all 4 corners. Now let's take some more of that lubricant and go right along the metal aspect of each of the pistons. Now it's going to be time to put the pads in there. You want to, of course, have the one that has the wear indicator facing towards the inside, so the side that has the bleeder screw on it. I'm going to slide this right in here. We'll take one of our pins, start sliding it through. The other pin, same thing. Now it's going to be time to put this clip on there. When you put on the clip, you want it facing in this direction. So you have the little flippy-doo coming down and under, and you have these little hooks right here that come up along the top of the pad. Slide it in here. Grab the other pad. We'll slide it in as well. Put our clip down there, and slide this in. Okay. Slide this one up in there as well. Okay. Now we can take our little clip here. You want the side with the flippy-doo facing towards the caliper because it's going to slide right in there. Just go ahead and slide this down into that pin. We'll do the same on the other one. Okay. Now take this, slide it through the middle, and then just double check to make sure these are locked in. Now we're going to come up here. We'll slide these little tabs into the pad, just like this, and then make sure that the ear is up and over this. Do the same on the other one. Now we're just going to grab this tab and we're going to bend it up a little bit. We just want it up far enough so it's not going to be hitting up against the rotor. We're going to slide this over the rotor. Take our 2 mounting bolts with some red thread locker and slide them in there. We'll start them in and then we'll tighten them to manufacturer specifications. Now let's torque these to 79 foot-pounds. remove this, install the line and snug it up. Okay, it's bottomed out. Just give it a little bit more. You definitely want to make sure these are nice and tight. Go ahead and remove the hose restrictor here. Now we're just going to go ahead and open up our bleeder screw and let the fluid gravity bleed. Okay, so now we have a nice steady stream of fluid coming out of here. Let's just go ahead and close this off, and then we're going to have somebody climb up into the truck and we'll fully bleed the brakes. Okay, so with the other person inside the truck, the next thing that you want to pay attention to is, of course, the condition and the level of your brake fluid. You want to make sure that your fluid's full, and of course, it's in good condition. Aside from that, we're going to continue on bleeding. Now, what I need is for the person inside the vehicle to pump up the brakes 3 to 5 times slowly, and then hold the brake pedal. Go ahead and pump it. Now I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Fluid's going to come shooting out of there, but what we really want to pay attention to is the amount of air coming out. As you can tell, there was a lot of air inside that one. So I'm just going to go ahead and let that trickle out for a second here. Close it off, and then we'll do it again. Go ahead and pump that brake pedal. At this point, the brake pedal should be feeling better for the person in the car. We got a whole bunch of air, but now I can see a pretty steady trickle of fluid with a little bit of air. So we're looking a little better here, but we're going to go ahead and do this until we have no more air in the system. Go ahead and pump it. Okay, on that last pump, we got no more air. If you wanted to, you can continue on by doing this one more time, but for me personally, it looks good as it is. Now, of course, brake fluid can contaminate the environment, so we're just gonna make sure that we clean down all the brake fluid in the area. Once it's all cleaned down, go ahead and put on your protective boot. Let's go ahead and get our wheel on here. We'll snug up the lug nuts, get the wheel on the ground, and then we'll torque them to manufacturer specifications. Now with the wheel safely on the ground, we're going to continue on by torquing these lug nuts. When you torque them, there's going to be a couple different specifications. If you have the aluminum wheel, like we have here, you're going to torque your lug nuts to 97 foot-pounds. If you have a steel wheel, like you could take a magnet and stick it right to it, you need to torque those to 154. Torqued. Now, of course, you're going to want to get under the hood and double check your master cylinder. You can see where the line is that says the maximum. You want to make sure you're full to that point. If you're not, just go ahead and pop this up and then fill it with .3 brake fluid. After that, make sure you put your cover right back on.